This company is suing Tencent, one of the biggest publishers in the world, and they're doing it because they're making a clone of an already existing game. You heard it right, guys. Sony is suing Tencent for everything they got. The biggest publisher, literal biggest publisher in gaming, getting sued because they essentially are making a game that is the exact replica of Horizon Zero Dawn. The game is named Light of Mortaram or Motoram. I don't. Anyway. So there's this big case going on right now, and Stephen Totillo has actually done a very good side-by-side with all the legal documents and all the examples, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, that was actually in the documents. So I'm going to use his whole breakdown here. Just want to give him a shout-out for that, and it'll be in the description. Now, Tencent being one of the biggest publishers in the world, sure. Sony is still pretty big. Both of them are absolute Goliaths, and it's going to be interesting where this all goes because usually you see Nintendo with Pal World, so a big boy with a David and Goliath. That's what you'll usually see, but this is two absolute Goliaths going at each other, and it's not just because it looks the same, because if something just looked the same, sure. There's actually a lot more behind this, including Tencent actually getting rejected by Sony to make this as a Horizon game. So this was supposed to be essentially a sequel, and now it's not, obviously. Now, last Friday in federal court in California, USA, a suit has been filed by Sony against Tencent for copyright infringement. Generally, when you see this, it's, something looks the same or the system seems the same. And you don't really hear about these big Goliaths going after each other because generally it seems like they don't step on each other's toes when it comes to these types of games. But as we'll get deeper, you'll see, obviously, it looks the same. We'll go through them now. But the big part is that Tencent essentially was supposed to make this a sequel for Sony, and it got rejected. But they kept making the game either way, which is crazy. Number one, we're going to look at the title screens. Look at them. They look exactly the same. It is insane. It is insane. If I sent ChatGPT Horizon Zero Dawn and said, "Can you make a updated version of this with more mountains in the background?" Light of Mortaram is exactly what it would have spit out. I promise you. And before we get into the trailers, because I do want to look at both trailers side by side, which it gets insane. But we're gonna look at some of the characters. So, for example, look at Alloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. And look at the main character in the other game. Dude, it is insane how similar they are. They both have red hair, the same kind of structure, the same kind of vibe, like a tribe, like old style tribe vibes. Both using bows, both feathers in the hair. But main characters are main characters. Sure, maybe you want to play it off something. And I mean, for example, they literally use real people like Norman Reedus. Or, I know Belle Delphine was going after, I think, some company for pretty much copying who she is and not giving her credit. You see that. But then you look at the monsters. Look at these two wolves, bro. Look at these two wolves. I'm looking at them right now. Look at this spider or this crab or whatever it is. It's insane. It is weird. And so in classic fashion, I got to give you guys the best of the best. So here are the music. It's the music right next to each other. And if you didn't think that was insane enough, look at these visuals that I did for you. Now, I understand that most people have this hate against Sony because they'll copy people's stuff too, which they definitely do. But the interesting part of this is exactly how it reads. The most eyebrow-raising part of the suit is Sony's claim that Tencent pitched PlayStation in early 2024, proposing that Aurora Studios make a Horizon game. And Sony says it's declined. The reason they declined it is obviously they wanted to keep their IP. Even though it's Tencent, obviously they want to keep their IP. They declined this game, and they have suspicion, and the reason they're in a suit with them is simply because they believed that they were already making the game and then just continued even though they got denied. But Sony also says that Tencent again asked to license Horizon. Sony again refused. Motoram remained underway, and so now Sony is suing. It reads, earlier this year, Sony had discussions with Tencent trying to informally resolve its concern that Light of Motoram violated its intellectual property rights. Tencent again sought to license the Horizon intellectual property. Sony again communicated clearly and unequivocally that it would not license the Horizon asset to Tencent, objected to Light of Motoram, and insisted that it be withdrawn. Okay, I've stumbled on Light of Motoram like 5 times. Terrible name, by the way. Terrible, terrible name. Tencent has since signaled that it rejected Sony's demands and would forge ahead, releasing a new promotional trailer for Light of Motoram and announcing that in the future, it would also commence global testing. Tencent has continued to release additional promotional materials, suggesting the game will be soon available for playtesting. Sony is thus forced to file this action and to seek judicial relief to protect its valuable and hard-earned intellectual property rights to Horizon franchise. Tencent did not immediately reply to a request for comment. Dude, they do not care. They are big dicking them. So anyway, it's an obvious ripoff, and what I expect that's going to come out of this is that either they're going to come to an agreement or a settlement behind closed doors, or it blows up and I make great content. Either's a W for me. I'm fine with either. But what I think happened is probably they started making this game. Maybe there was rumblings that they would get the sequel, and so they started making it, and maybe it was a bit too Horizon Zero Dawn. So they went to Sony and they were like, hey, let us make your sequel. It's Tencent. We're the biggest company in the world. And Sony said, yeah, I don't care. I don't think I care that you're the biggest company in the world. I want to be the biggest company in the world. And you know how you do that? Not getting rid of your IPs. So what we're going to do is we're going to not let you have our IP, and we're going to stick with our own IP. You can go figure it out. And instead of figuring it out, they just continued, even though they got refused the IP. So now I guess they're hoping to win the copyright suit. So interesting. Anyway, boys, if you do enjoy lawsuits, check out this video. It's the TikToker that's facing 9 years in prison. But either way, if you made it this far, you probably like me. You probably liked the video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because I'll be here again tomorrow. I'm here every single day. Anyway, boys, been a pleasure. Thank you. All right. See you. Bye.